Presenting the dazzling new Desire, the best and beyond.
Sriram, what are your first impressions of CSK?
Yeah, very typical CSK. They've got 9 medium-paced bowlers. They've got a solid spin attack. But one thing that stands out is a lack of a power hitter. Shivam Dube is their big one. They usually have, if I can call Daryl Mitchell, Ben Stokes. You've got that high-profile number 4 overseas batter who packs a punch. But that's missing this time. Whether there's a change in strategy to go a little more spin heavy and batters who play spin well. And that's why it tells me that Sam Curran may be that floater who can bowl the new ball and bat at 4.
Dustin?
Yeah, I mean, I always like CSK's auction strategy because it's so simple. They go after players who they know, like they'll go after Conway, Rachin Ravindra. And then I think bringing in Sam Curran, actually, I think he could be maybe that power hitter. Because he's done that role for CSK before, and CSK have this habit of getting the best out of players. And Curran can be a player who strikes at 160, 170 in the middle order. So I actually think they've covered their bases pretty well.
Okay, let's bring in what we think is a probable 12. Tom, break that down. Does that look like the ideal team, or could there be some potential swaps there?
Yeah, look, it's a tricky one, this one, because, I think Sam Curran suddenly becomes a really important player for them because without him playing as the 4th overseas player, you're then, you're denying the opportunity to play Noor Ahmad, and I'm sure that they'll be keen to play Noor in their playing 11. Sam Curran provides them balance and depth in their batting, but it also gives them another medium-paced bowler. Without him in the side and playing Rachin Ravindra, you then lose that, other seam options. So they're really only playing 2 quicks and multiple spinners. We know they're always going to play plenty of spin, but I think Sam Curran suddenly becomes a really important figure for the balance of their side. Yes, they can twist it as many ways as they like and look at different combinations. But I think you and the team that have put that playing 11 together is, I think are pretty close to the market to how it's going to probably look to begin with.
Yeah, if we look at possible permutations for that, now we've not put Deepak Hooda in that team. He could compete with either Rahul Tripathi or Vijay Shankar, we think. There's also Jamie Overton, Matt, who was picked up, Nathan Ellis as well. Now, whether Nathan Ellis is cover for Pathirana, there could be a day when they play Pathirana and Nathan Ellis and maybe not have the excessive spin. Even though Noor Ahmad was picked up for big money, it seems like Ashwin will almost play every game with the kind of money you paid for him. And even though you have Jadeja, I don't think CSK would have too many problems playing both Ashwin and Jadeja. Break that down in terms of how close that is and what the potential alternatives are.
Yeah, I would see the other 3 overseas players in the squad as sort of covering individuals within that. So I think Ravindra would be covered for Conway, Overton for Curran, and Ellis would be covered for Pathirana. I think what I see in that Chennai squad in particular is a side that are probably expecting their home venue to behave slightly differently to what it has in the past couple of years, because Jaipur historically has been a ground that suited spin bowling. In the last couple of years, it's been a bit of a mystery. It's been, much more high scoring than we're probably used to. And also there's been quite often been a heavy chasing bias because of the dew. So it'll be really interesting to see how that strategy evolves, because they've got 3 spinners in Jadeja, Noor Ahmad and Ashwin, who you'd expect would be locks in the playing 11, given the outlay that they've put on them. Although the one sort of counter to that is that, we know the history of Chennai, they don't always necessarily, the fact that they've spent big on a player in the auction doesn't mean that they're necessarily going to play a huge role in season. They won't feel any sort of pressure of the price tag to do that. But yeah, I think it's a really strong team, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Hooda play as well. And he seems like the sort of guy that, he's obviously had a couple of quiet years, but had a really good IPL in 22 with LSG. And he seems someone a bit like a Shivam Dube, who maybe after that quiet phase might do really well and flourish in that environment under Fleming and Dhoni, and obviously now Gaikwad as well.
I mean, when you look at that team, Sriram, I guess if there were any other team but CSK, and you said there's Tripathi, Vijay Shankar and Deepak Hooda, who are your Indian batting core along with Gaikwad and Dube, but you'd be thinking, are these all players past their prime and all? We don't seem to feel that for CSK, right?
Somehow they They got the best out of people like Raidu, Robin, and Rahane.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty similar kind of lineup for the next 3 years. Tripathi, Huda, and Shankar.
Probably the one disappointment would be just with the Indian seamers.
Yeah.
Because they did bid for a number of Indian seamers they didn't get. I think they bid for Deepak Chahar, of course, but they also went for Mukesh Kumar and Akashdeep. So they wanted a slightly higher profile Indian seamer along with Khalil, which they didn't get. And then they went for Anshul Kamboj and some of the younger seamers as their sort of second and third options, because they didn't get those three names that they want.
Out of 10, let's get everyone's thoughts in. Sriram?
7.5.
Okay, Dustin.
8.
Tom?
7.5 for me.
Matthew?
8 for me.
I've learned my lesson. 8.5 CSK. Because everything they've done, they're going to do right.
Wow.
Yeah, they're going to do right. It's just going to all come together beautifully. Right.
Presenting the dazzling new Desire, the best and beyond.